Hello, hello, everyone. Beth here from True North Media Company. It is a beautiful, snowy day in the south suburbs of Chicago. Got my cup of tea here, my cup of chai, keeping me warm. And yeah, I am finalizing the 2025 podcast series. We've got a very special guest that you'll get a chance to listen to here in a bit. And it is towards the end of November. So, what I can say is this is that I try to take my time in creating podcasts, videos, blogs. I definitely don't feel the need to do, as they say, clickbait or just to get stuff in the algorithm. I like to do a little bit of research about subject matters. And of course, I feel very close to this next subject, which is Scotland. All of my friends and my clients, my students, they always make fun of me. They're like, "Are you going back to Scotland again?" Yes. It's such a great place to visit. And in September of this year, I had the opportunity to go to one of my first LandCon events. If you're not familiar with this style of Comic-Con, I wouldn't even call it a Comic-Con. It's just a con specifically for the TV series Outlander and soon to be segueing into Blood of My Blood. But they hosted their first con in Edinburgh. So, of course, I was going to be going back. So, my BFF, Jessica, she's my Outlander buddy, we go to a lot of different events. She came along with me. It was her first time in Scotland, and we actually went early and got a chance to explore some bookstores around Old Town, New Town. And we did a tour with Charlotte, the death historian. I'll try to put some photos and recaps from the tour that we did the Friday before the con event. But LandCon definitely impressed me. It was well run. The staff was very kind and courteous, and it had a little different twist. Friday night, we had a black tie Kaylee or soiree. So we got to dress up in our finest dresses and mingle and hobnob with some of the actors who were there for the event. Met a bunch of lovely people at our table. Shout out to Tony and her mom from Bristol. And yeah, the event, the LandCon event itself was Saturday, Sunday. So they had a variety of panels. And of course, you can do photo ops, autographs with all the actors who were at this specific LandCon in Edinburgh. LandCon will be a little different each year. It's normally held in Paris. And of course, we just had the Scotland version. And I'll give a little quick segue. They're coming to the USA in October 2026, Austin, Texas. Super excited about that. But yeah, kind of going back to my favorite portion of LandCon in Edinburgh, I'll say two things. It was absolutely all the panels. They really showcased Scotland and the local artisans, the local actors. There was just a variety of highlighted individuals and groups, all from Scotland, who I'll say play a huge, huge role and make the show what it is. The vendors that they had there were a variety of folks who work in Scotland or who do sort of the costuming department. And if you're a cosplayer like I am, you know that costume design is a side passion of mine. I definitely am not a good sewer, but I like how costumes and makeup can really enhance a show or a movie. And oddly enough, I got to meet two lovely ladies Anka, who was selling her jewelry. If you have a chance, I'll link her stuff at the end of this and then my blog. She does really unique imprints of set locations and other locations in Scotland. But her friend, Dr. Alex Dold, who you may have seen a few things over the past couple weeks about the honorary doctorate that Diana Gabaldon received, but Dr. Alex, also received her doctorate the same day with Diana. And so a friend of mine mentioned that she had met Dr. Alex Dold at LandCon in Edinburgh, and I had to go down and chat with her because she is a literary historian, and she wrote her thesis about the Outlander book series. If you go to Scotland for Outlander, great. It's a segue, it's an introduction, but you really will start to understand the immense history that Scotland has, both on the story, in the books, of course, in the TV series, but in a huge variety of other important discoveries, trials and tribulations. And I think that's one of the reasons why I am so drawn to Scotland. I'm not Scottish by blood, but I will say that I'm Scottish now by my passport because I've probably been there, I think, 7 times. So enjoy this little recap of LandCon in Edinburgh, and then we will segue into the amazing Dr. Alex Dold. Slàinte. Here you go. LandCon, we are in you.
Stopped here mainly, one, to visit Frank, because nobody likes visiting Frank, so we're all forced to visit Frank.
Outlander visitors, Mid-Hope.
No peeking up my coat now.
House in every room. We have been doing our own Outlander tours today, so in some of the rooms you might see us like a mood board showing what was filmed in that area. So just
have a chat with Dr. Alex Dold, the official Doctor of Outlander. Stay tuned. Intelligent you are.
I have like a got me a little plaque for my desk as
Oh,
well,
I love
but it's
it.
really shiny. So
Yeah.
unfortunately I can't have it like in the background. But yeah,
Right, because
so
it's like,
one day I'll have like this big desk and I put it right in front of it. You know, like you see in movies. That's the dream.
is it? Yeah. Well, I think any librarian, historian, or anyone who likes to read, like that is the goal, to have like the ultimate library
Yeah.
set up, and then your private space where you can just think and write and research and
Exactly. Like if we weren't renting, this would be like this is like a little corner off the living room and it literally ends where the printer ends. So
yeah.
I would have had like a built-in bookshelf in this, but I'm not spending money on someone else's flat, so I'm gonna have to wait until we buy something and then the library is happening, like for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, how funny. So how's your day been? It's afternoon there for y'all. So you had a pretty entry into the weekend?
Yeah, well, it was so busy after graduation. So I'm like, I was really looking forward to this. And then graduation happened just before, and my family left this week. So I feel like I've started breathing again today, but I still have a massive to-do list of like follow up with this person or like send a
Yeah.
thank you note to that person. Because everybody's been so kind. And I
Yeah.
don't want to seem arrogant and just go like, well, obviously like I'm the doctor now and everybody knows about me and stuff. So I'm trying to like I'm freaking out inside, but I'm trying to be really
Oh,
kind to other people because like
yeah.
the response, especially from Outland fans, has been incredible. There's always one or two haters that don't understand what I'm doing. So I hope that like going on podcasts and talking more about my work will, make a difference and nobody's gonna go like, how can you write a serious thesis about Outlander? Well, watch me.
Yeah, but like it's funny when we met at LandCon in Scotland, Jessica, I got to give a shout out to her. She had told me that she met you, and I was like, "Who is this person?" I was like, "I need to go find her and say hello," because I really try to get to meet other people, not just be all about the cast and the photos, which is fun. That's why you go to those cons. But I really like people and I like to make connections. That's what I like to do when I travel. So when she had mentioned you, I was like, I'm going to go back down there and find you guys. And it just happened to be at her stall. And I was like, well, this is fate. I was meant to chat with y'all there.
Yeah, it,
But
it was such a weird situation.
idea.
Like LandCon blow me, do you say out of my socks, I think is the English expression. So English is my second language. So sometimes I have ideas of what I want to say, but then they come out weird because I've used the German way of saying it or something and just translated it. But yeah, LandCon was crazy. I'd met Anke, shout out to her as well at this
Yes.
point. Like I met her at Duncairn Medieval Village, which is a filming location for Outlander, and they did a Clanlander kind of Outlander event day and I went with the
Oh,
Inverness Outlanders, who have come up with a really cool like map of all the locations in Inverness that are mentioned in the books, which
okay.
they can be at tourist informations. And I thought, it's a great thing. So, and they're also like great women that are in the group. So we tend to like meet up because I'm in Glasgow, they're in Inverness, and kind of Planlander was kind of halfway between us almost. So I
Okay.
went up and saw them. And Anka had the stall next to us, and I was like, Anka sounds like a very German name. And she was like, oh yeah, because I'm German. So we started chatting in German. And then people came around and looked at her stuff, and I was like, have you seen what she does? It's amazing because she
Yeah.
does these textured prints or imprints of filming locations for Outlander, but also like castles across Scotland and England.
Yeah.
And I was just convinced and I just kept talking to people and Gilabreacher Macmillan, who was in season one of Outlander and is now works for the spin-off as well.
Yeah.
Um and like he came over, I knew him because we're colleagues at Glasgow University.
Yeah.
And I was just like, look, you got to meet this woman who does this amazing thing. And by the end of the event, I think I talked to so many people about her work, and she was talking about my PhD stuff. And she was like, "Look, I've got makers tickets to go to LandCon. You can have that. You won't get in free if you want." And I was like, "Do I want to? Obviously."
Yeah.
And she was so kind. She was saying like, "You don't need to sell my stuff. Just go and like meet people." I was like, "No, if I'm going because of you, I might as well like help out." And it was, I mean, it was amazing for her to meet all the people. And then she directed them to me and was like, "Have you met the Doctor of Outlander?"
Yeah.
And up to that day, I didn't even have an Instagram yet. I kind of very hurriedly finished my website so that people could look me up. It didn't have that much information on it yet. I had literally the day before the first day of the LandCon, I was told that I can use the doctorate now. Like I defended so the first outing of like Dr. Dold was LandCon. And then I
Oh,
chatted to
wow.
so many people. Yeah. And I think I came away with it with my first like 100 followers just from this one event.
Oh my
And I
God.
was so happy about it. So many people were just so kind and asking about it, and asking if they can read it. So I'm just chatting away here, but like I've got my thesis here just so you can like see it. So it looks
Yes.
really pretty in the front. Oh, hold on. It's got a
No, that's
reflecting cover.
great. I absolutely want to
So
read it.
it has like this. But what people don't see is how much it is. It's 280 pages. So hats off to anybody who makes it even halfway through this. It is an
Which,
academic work. Yeah. So
yeah.
it's I'm just, as you can tell, I can't stop talking. I'm so excited about everything. I can't wait to see where all of us goes.
Yeah. And I mean, you are listening to Podcast Stories with Dr. Alex Dold, the official Doctor of Outlander.
So, well, I would say the whole like idea of studying Outlander started in 2017. I was
Oh.
at a German university for my master's and got the chance to do a semester abroad. There's Erasmus scholarships, which cover parts of your stay. And I was like, I'm studying English literature. I need to go into an English speaking country and actually use it. And one of the options was Inverness in Scotland, which sounded amazing. The University of the Highlands and Islands is set up so you can study from anywhere. It's got loads of campuses all across Scotland.
Oh.
And you can basically, if you live in the middle of the Highlands, it would take you 2 hours to travel to, let's say, Inverness. There's no point to do this every day for
Mm-mm.
lectures.
No.
So we would just do what we're doing now. You can like just Zoom from home, or you could go to one of the partner colleges and go into a room and hopefully meet up with some other people. For me, it was all
Yeah.
but I had a really, really kind lecturer called Dr. Jim McPherson who taught a class on British identities, which I wasn't aware of. There's loads of British identities, not just if you have immigration background or something, but
Mm.
Scottish people tend to not say they're British. They have a British passport, but they would always say I'm Scottish,
Sure.
which is quite interesting. So they don't feel part of that whole of Great Britain. And we were talking about this, and the task was at the end of the semester to write an essay about how have you come into contact with Britishness and British identities. So for the first essay, I wrote about the packaging of salads. If anybody ever travels to Scotland, like have a look at them. They have the Scottish flag on it. Loads of things have the Scottish flag on it, and it seems very patriotic to me because I'm from Germany, where we only get out our flags when it's the football World Cup, kind of, because our history is
Okay.
very different.
Yes.
Like we're the country that lost two world wars, started and then lost.
Yeah.
So I was really fascinated by the fact that, you know, you can slap the Scottish flag on anything, something simple like a bag of lettuce. And then the next one, I thought, you know, that got quite a good mark. Why not go for something kind of more normal life, not as academic as I would write in my German university, just because, you know, this is a new experience. And I wrote about a mixture of Outlander and how everybody kind of wears kilts and people are into that now. And I got really good feedback on it. And Jim McPherson basically sent me an email after saying, really enjoyed that. If you ever want to do a PhD, you know, give me a shout. And I was like, right, okay. Hadn't really considered it. I was just thinking I'll finish my master's and then see where I'm going with it.
Sure.
But I felt validated that, you know, history and literature in a fun way can also be the study of it. So I went back to Germany and wrote my master's thesis about Outlander, specifically the representation of Scottish identity in kind of the use of the kilt and tartan. So
Mm,
I analysed lots of the costumes. I went to Culloden, got
okay.
to take pictures of like the artwork that was done, how different things were presented in English perception versus Scottish, even though that's not historically accurate, like government perspective versus Jacobite perspective.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and you can see that then in Outlander completely, where this kind of shows up that the government army feel above. They talk about Dougal Mackenzie, I think, at some point in the TV adaptation about a creature, the creature speaks or something like that. So it's really demeaning, but it's reflective of what it seems like in the artwork at Culloden as well, because I think there would be
Uh,
loads of people that could connect to the idea of Scottishness and tartan through Outlander as an access point. Research, I started creating walking tours in Inverness,
okay.
and the idea behind it was do more people book on when the tour has the name Outlander in it. So they were the exact same tours. One, in order
Oh,
to keep them out of my like
interesting.
separate in my head, I walked one kind of clockwise and the other one anti-clockwise, just so that I would remember which one I'm doing in the moment.
Okay.
I'd set it up, I did it through Airbnb. I had like all the ideas of what I want to question people about. I was getting ready to get ethics approval, which you need as soon as you ask other people for any sort of data. And then the pandemic hit, and there was
Mhm.
obviously, I mean, there were no tours because there were no tourists. And
Right.
I was kind of,
Every time that I've gone to Scotland, I've been welcomed by either the hosts of the people that I'm staying with or just random people that I meet, or if I do a tour. And I I think that's one of the reasons why I keep going back to Scotland because
yeah,
it is such a
definitely.
pleasurable experience. Um, but it's almost serendipitous, right? That you had that
Yeah,
experience that has brought you to this moment now. And then it's obviously going to continue to build. When I think when you have a good network and a good community
yeah,
around you, you you can or will have the possibility of more success because you have that support.
totally
I
do.
think that's huge.
Totally. I mean, my thesis, that's how we kind of got to this, your question, right? How did the thesis change? Because I
Yeah.
was like at this like point where I was just lost. I was by myself. I didn't know what to do for my research. It kind of got lost so much. I knew that I wanted to do something about Outlander, but didn't really know what. And then the pandemic happened as something that was so terrible for so many people. And obviously
Yeah.
for me, yeah. And then I had a long phone call, I think, with my dad or my mum or something at some point, and I said like I want to do Outlander, and like that's still the thing I want to do. And I remember the reaction being like, "But do you not want to do something more academically? Do you know, like you don't want to be the Outlander girl kind of thing, you know, just a fangirl." Even though my dad was the one that first watched Outlander with me,
Okay.
like he found it, he told me to watch it.
Oh,
But and I told
it
my
was,
supervisors about it, and they were like, "You found your topic." But that's what
yeah.
the obviously is now. It basically says Outlander is good to read because it opens a pathway to history. Whether this is completely 100% accurate historically, debatable, you know, but
Yeah.
people like you, like loads of other fans, have come to Scotland and learned about the actual history. So it's just,
Yep.
I would say Outlander is the trigger. And that's what I wanted to say with my thesis. And it
So
was literally
I'm so happy that you are like keeping to my list of questions because sometimes I'm so terrible. I get talking to people and then I was like, oh wait, I really wanted to ask about that one topic.
I'm an
Uh,
academic. Like I printed it. It's
oh
got
my
notes all over. I'm surprised it's not color coded or something. That's
God.
just what I do.
We color coded it on the Google Doc that we had, so that was good. So I guess the biggest question is now where you are at that you've finalized your PhD and you have enough, we'll say, background of support, right? You've got support from your family, you've got support from the university, you've got support from a variety of other folks who are in the Outlander universe. I feel like that moment last week is gonna take you to so many other speaking places that you would want to go. So can you share what you would like to have? And don't worry.
Do you know, I've become one of those people that goes like, I've got so many interesting things happening, but I can't tell anybody.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So this is like that. I mean, this it's when you hear like people on Instagram go like, "Oh, guys, I just had the best meeting ever, but I can't tell you." I always thought that was really annoying, and now I realize you actually can't talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I've made a list on my sheet here
Okay.
of things that I can tease. So
Okay.
first of all, at the end of this month, so end of November, there's a book coming out called Outlander in Scotland, Touch Points and Signposts.
I saw that.
I've contributed 2 chapters, one about the titles and cover editions of the first Outlander novel in German, because
Oh,
they get changed around quite a lot. So the
interesting.
title in German, if you like translate it back into English, is Fire and Stone instead of Outlander. So you can think about what
Really?
that might mean or not. So, but you can like,
Hmm.
there's definitely some points of analysis that you can read about in my chapter.
Okay.
And then there's another one that I did with 2 of my friends. It was based on a roundtable discussion. So all the discussion of a roundtable you don't record, and there's no like speaking paper. So we kind of came up like based on that roundtable, we came up with an analysis or discussion of how smaller communities have dealt with the Outlander effect in Scotland, because there is a massive kind of increase of visitors. You need better parking, toilets. It's
Yeah.
like the small things you don't really think about.
Yes.
And we're looking at 3 different examples, and that's coming out. So we're hoping that there's going to be loads of interest. Well, it says like in the advertisement that the publisher's written, it says that it's for academics, but also fans. And I think the big important thing is if somebody thinks that a text is really difficult to read, that's probably because it is. Because some texts are really, really highly academically written,
Hmm.
others are written kind of more like storytelling.
Sure.
Um, yeah, and I think it's really important to say like you're not stupid if you don't make your way through this all the way. Just read what you're interested in, and yeah. Also, I don't understand all the things I read in academic papers, right? I don't know how much like experience you have with academic papers, but sometimes you read it and you go, I do not understand a word. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm highly educated now. And it's really embarrassing to have to admit, like, I read your paper, but I didn't get it or something. That's okay because academic texts are very kind of subjective. Analysis is never right or wrong. So if you read Outlander and you love the love story, cool. If you read Outlander for the history, cool. If you read it for, I don't know, witchcraft, that's cool too. You don't like everybody has their own kind of point of view, and it's the same for academic texts.
But
I personally don't like reading about like Shakespeare. That bores me. I don't know why.
I think that point though that you just brought up is actually the purposeful point of an academic text is to make your brain go, what? Because you're curious.
Yeah,
And for me, I like to learn new words that I don't know about. I like to learn about situations where like, oh, and then you go and you study it and you spend, you just take this little detour, but you still come back around. That's the whole point
yeah,
of why
definitely.
you have interest in that in the first place.
It's really, yeah, you need students, other academics, anybody can teach you something. So I like that you're open to that as well.
It still is all encompassing. And like you said, you're going to learn from the academics, you're going to learn from people in your study group, you're going to learn from just random people on the street who are like, hey, aren't you the Doctor of Outlander? And, then you get to take yourself further
Yeah,
into not only that universe, but the universe that you are kind of creating for yourself.
definitely. I think it's like a big thing, like what's supposed to happen is going to happen at some point somehow. Other than that book, I've got a couple of collaborations planned with other people in like the Outlander world. So
You are listening to Podcast Stories with
over there.
Doctor
Alex Dold, the
Yeah.
official
I'm going to
Doctor
circle us
of
back
Outlander.
to where we first took a little break, intermission. So we were talking about some of the things that you can talk
Yeah.
about that are upcoming for speaking engagements and so on.
So if yesterday I had someone reach out from, I think they were called the Gaelic Society of Victoria in Australia. And I was
Oh,
like, whoa. I saw that somebody had reshared the reel that I did with Diana at my graduation. And then I just posted underneath with kind of my business page and said, hey, I'm the historian who is in this video. Thanks for sharing. And then they got back right away. Would you like to speak to us? Which is like, I would love to speak to anybody. I would love to like talk about Scottish culture and everything. You were the first one who's asked me to be on a podcast, and I was so excited about it because
well,
I wasn't like know anything at the point. So this entire week I was going like, oh my God, this is going to be so good and
yeah.
so interesting. And yeah, but
And
like
again,
there
thank
is
you so much for giving your time, because and I agree with that. Your time is worth money. As a professional, you absolutely should be paid for speaking engagements or anything that you are going to promote for yourself as well.
definitely. And it's quite hard. I think that's like coming out of university and having to stand up for yourself and not just go like, oh wow, they've offered me this amount of money. Sounds great. But really, you should haggle with them and say like,
Absolutely.
actually, my fee that I've set for myself is this. Could we meet in the middle or something like that? And that's like kind of it was a bit of a wake up call how like quickly I had to get into this mindset of I like my knowledge is not for free because it wasn't free for me. I think I was
Right.
in university for 13 years now. So it was 4 years of bachelor's, 2 years of master's, and then 6 years of PhD. If I had a maths PhD, I could tell you how much this is in total, but
Right.
so
It's a
it
lot.
took a while. And like I'll show you this again. This doesn't come from like not knowing anything or doing anything, right? So I have to tell myself like I'm not being cheeky by
Nope.
saying, my knowledge needs to be valued. But I've had great inquiries. I will be going to London in December for something, which is really
Oh,
cool.
okay.
So it's not, unfortunately, it's not like an Outlander premiere. I'm still waiting for that call. That'd
Okay.
be like
That'll come.
amazing.
It's
That
gonna come.
that would hopefully. I think my big dream is like if there's ever a documentary made about Outlander, how it like transformed Scotland or the influence it had or how it's made or something. I want to be that historian when it like at the bottom the name like slides in and it says like Outlander expert or academic Outlander expert, something like that. That's
Okay.
always since I started this, that's the dream. Like being in a documentary, that's the one thing that hasn't really happened yet. And I mean, I say yet, but it's only been a week since I graduated, right? So
Put it
so
out to
much
the
has happened since.
universe. Put all of those things that you want out to the universe.
If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. Yeah,
Hmm.
articles and everything. She was so cool, honestly. Somebody just went up to her and was like, I'm the social media officer. Here's the idea that Alex had. She wrote a script. This is what you have to say. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just go for it.
Oh,
Which was really, really nice. She held
yeah.
my Outlander book. I brought all the props along. And that
You know
like
what?
that robe was so heavy. It kept pulling my neck kind of upwards towards my neck. And I
Oh,
just for every picture I had to go like yank it to the front.
really?
Because it's really thick material.
Uh-huh.
And so in the video, you can also see that we kind of wear the same thing. So it's the same colors, but Diana's has a little bit of like a silver application on the side.
Yeah.
So that's the honorary doctoral robe, and mine was the normal doctoral robe.
Okay.
And there was only one other person graduating with a doctorate, so we really stood out. Everybody else has reached this point. Like nobody in this world has ever looked at the Outlander novels that way. There are other PhD theses, but they
Hmm.
mainly deal with tourism, there's some politics, and most of the time Outlander is just one of the examples. So
Mm.
mine is the only one that looks at 9 novels and very specifically how we learn history, because that is part of what a PhD is. It has to be completely new, which is the really daunting part. And I was
Sure.
lucky enough that people might have thought what I'm saying, but haven't actually written and published about it.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's
yeah.
that's awesome. So awesome for you.
Yeah, like in terms of like what I would like to happen, what hasn't happened yet, I'm going to look for a publisher to actually get the thesis done, not as academically, but maybe by a commercial publisher so you can actually buy it in a bookshop and read it for
Okay.
fun and just interest. Um, because 280 pages is a lot to have to go through, even though like 20 pages roughly is the bibliography at the end and there's like acknowledgements and everything, but it is a long piece of work. I was allowed to write 100,000 words plus minus 10%. And I'm pretty sure I wrote about 107,000. Like I just squeezed it in with the 10%.
Wow.
And I could have written more because I was so into it. I wanted to do so much more. Yeah, so that's one thing that's definitely going to happen, that I look for someone. If someone's actually going to purchase it and I make money from it, that would be the best thing, because it would be great if the thesis could pay for itself, because there are study fees in the UK
Absolutely.
for PhDs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know which one was my favorite question that you asked beforehand?
No, which
If
one?
I would like to, if I would like to travel back in time, because
Yes.
that's one of the things that I get asked on my tour a lot, and my answer is always, I am very much blind, so I don't have good vision. I'm
Oh.
lactose intolerant. I would not survive there unless I can like
Oh no.
take my glasses and lactase pills and whatnot. All that would
Oh
help me,
wow.
and then I'd be fine. But these kinds of glasses didn't exist in the 18th century. So
No.
I wouldn't like, people would look at me weird, but without them, I can see about, like, if I turn to the side about this far sharp.
Really? Oh
Like if
gosh.
for it to be completely sharp, and that's just like I couldn't do it. Um, but if those kind of things, if we're just imagining I was all of a sudden of perfect vision and my body was perfectly fine with any sort of food I put into it, um, I think like for me personally, I would miss the comfort of modern life. I hate being in wet clothes, like when clothes stick to your legs or something.
Yeah.
So when I see that, like in season 3, when Claire is shipwrecked and walks
Yeah.
around with wet clothes and all this sweat, and you must like stays and like the underclothes basically, they would stick in your body, like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like when sometimes socks do it nowadays, sometimes they like they're too tight and you've got those like lines on your foot or leg afterwards.
Yeah.
That would happen anywhere on your body where it's like with a corset or stays or anything like that. And I'm just like, no, I couldn't do it. I would continuously have to itch and move things around. But that's why I love the Outlander novels. It's so clear. Like at some point there is a scene, maybe in the ninth book or something, where it says that Claire's like those impressions from clothes, they used to go away faster, I think is like the thought. So from that you see like Claire's older, her body doesn't behave the same way it used to, but also this is the like what happens to your body if you wear these kinds of clothing. But again, if that wasn't an issue, I would like to go back twice. I would like to go back as a highborn man,
Okay.
um,
That
to
makes sense.
see what kind of life is like. You know, like if all doors are open to you, if you're a
Mm,
privileged person in that time. And then I would like to go back as a woman, but of like a lowborn status, and see how
mm.
hard life then is. Because it's physical work. I don't think it's as bad as some people think, but I also definitely know it's not as romanticized as it is in Outlander at times, where Claire just walks with her lovely wee wicker basket to pluck some, I don't know, flowers and some herbal medicines and stuff. Yeah, so I would love to like be able to compare this. So I'm very much approaching the question of would you like to go back, as like I'd like to go back as a researcher.
Yeah.
Um, and the best would be to just be allowed to go in my own stuff, so I can wear like thick winter boots in winter and all that kind of stuff, and basically be invisible. So I would just like to observe. There's a book series, and it's about historians, and I think it's St. Mary's Institute or something like that.
Okay.
And it's literally about historians who time travel with like time travel machines to observe historical moments.
Oh,
And not just in Scotland. So they do go back to, I think, 18th century Scotland at some point, but they also go to like ancient Roman places. And you
okay.
can learn a lot of history about it. I didn't look up if all of this is correct or not, but and obviously there's intrigues and there's some love and whatnot, but that's kind of the stuff I would like to go and observe. You know,
Yeah.
in the Outlander novels, that's my one favorite scene, I think, or like one of my favorite scenes, when Jamie sees that Claire got waxed in
Yeah.
Paris. He
Yes.
goes like, "What happened?" Because for him, it's just inexplicable that a woman could have no hair on her body.
Right.
And for us nowadays, it's kind of the exact opposite. If somebody doesn't, I don't know, groom at all, doesn't cut their hair, doesn't like do their eyebrows or whatever, you kind of go like, "Whoa, what kind of weirdo are you?" Which is interesting because it's just turned around completely.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think as a historian, go to museums is like a big thing as well.
Mm.
And go to museums, but don't try to see everything. I think that's the biggest mistake that people try to do, kind of like trying to see everything of Scotland. Try to pick a couple of things that are maybe advertised by the museum. So if you go to the Kelvin Grove Museum and Galleries in Glasgow, see the massive Salvador Dali painting, see there's a section of animals that are native to Scotland.
Mm.
So there's also a big elephant in the next room, but like see very specifically the Scottish things that you're at, and also buy from small local artists, I would say.
Absolutely.
That is such a big thing. When you come to Glasgow, there's all these touristy areas, and these shops where you can buy a Scotland flag or a jumper with a Scotland something on it.
Yeah.
If you have a car and you're going somewhere, just stop in the smaller villages and just have a look around. Usually it's maybe the pharmacy will have local
Mm.
artists shown,
Okay.
local bookshops, all that. And in local bookshops as well, they will have a signage that says buy local authors, and buy that, because if those local authors write about the area, they will get
Yeah.
it right. They will be able to tell you
Okay.
what is great about their area. So if you, for example, one of the books that comes to mind is Philip Paris, The Last Witch of Scotland. Um, and Philip lives where I used to live. We used to be neighbours in the Scottish sense, about 15 minutes apart.
Okay.
And so in that area where he still lives, there is where the last witch, let's put that in quotation marks,
Yeah.
was burned. And then there's a local author called Liz Treacher in the Highlands who wrote a really cool story called um what is it? Vegan Recipes for New Age Men,
Okay.
which is just like it's a really cool romance story. You can buy it in the local bookshop and you can buy it on Amazon, but otherwise it's not in those really big bookshops. But when you read it and then you visit that location, you will
Yeah.
recognize it. I think that's amazing. That's what you need to do.
Okay. I know in the future when your book comes out that I will absolutely be purchasing it and recommending it. And I know.
If I see you with it, I'll sign it for you.
Okay. Yes.
But
Yes. How
I
exciting.
haven't done that yet, so I'm hoping that somebody aside from my family will ask to get like the book that comes out next to get it signed. I'm trying currently to get it like sold in the bookshop on
Okay.
Sauchiehall Street in Glasgow,
Oh, yeah.
where very much like I love that you're so enthusiastic about my stuff and that you like took the time of 2 entire Zoom calls to have a
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah. Well, and plus, like I really feel like a kindred spirit when we chatted back in September. So
Yeah.
I absolutely want to thank you for taking the time out today to chat with me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend now that all the excitement is starting to calm down and you can kind of get back to a more, we'll say, normal pace right
Yeah.
before.
I'll go and eat the rest of my munchie box for
Okay.
dinner, and then I'm going to chill and do something that has nothing to do with work.
Yeah.
But this was fantastic. Perfect way to spend the Saturday afternoon.
Yes. Thank you again, Dr. Alex Dold, the official Doctor of Outlander. I hope to see you.